Do you have a super budget gaming PC but want to play the most popular game in the entire world right now? Fortnite, obviously? Well, I got a stack of budget graphics cards that we're going to test to see what kind of results you can get. Let's get into it. Hey, welcome to Zach's Tech Turf. Today we're going to be benchmarking Fortnite with 6 budget graphics cards, and if you're into benchmarking videos and PC building videos, then hit that subscribe button down below and also hit that notification bell, that way you know every single time I upload a new video. But yeah, Fortnite is running pretty smoothly already with even super budget graphics cards like the GT 1030, and the results may surprise you. The 6 graphics cards that we'll be testing today are the GTX 750 Ti, RX 460, GTX 960, GT 1030, GTX 1050 Ti, and the king of value GTX 780 Ti. I call the GTX 780 Ti the king of value because the prices aren't really affected by mining, and you can throw this somewhat old GPU in a brand new 2018 gaming PC like I did up in this video and still get some pretty good results. Just for some reference, I want to quickly talk about what other graphics cards these ones compare to. That way if you don't have one of these specifically, you'll at least be able to guess what results you'll be closest to. The 780 Ti compares pretty closely to an R7 260X. The RX 460 is close to something like a GTX 950, 760, or even an R7 370. The GTX 960 and 1050 Ti are pretty similar to each other, as well as an R9 285 or 280. The GT 1030 is pretty close to an RX 550, and finally the 780 Ti compares to a 970 and an RX 580 or 570. Now once again, those are some really rough comparisons, and I only included those in case if you don't have one of these exact graphics cards, and that way you can guess based off of my results what you should expect. I'm going to be testing these cards today on my usual testing rig, which is rocking an i7 4790K, which boosts up to 4.4 GHz, 16 GB of RAM, an MSI Gaming 5 motherboard, and the game is installed on a Samsung 840 EVO SSD. And finally, before jumping into the benchmarks, I actually listened to you guys what you said in my last benchmarking video, and here's a chart of every single graphics card with the exact same settings in 1080p and high settings, and this way you can actually see how they compare to each other. But now what I'm about to show you is the settings that I would personally game at with each of these graphics cards, and also what the game will look like. The first card up was the GTX 750 Ti, which like I mentioned before in other videos, it's still a great bang for your buck GPU. In 1080p and medium settings with a 100% resolution scale, get used to seeing those settings by the way, I averaged a very smooth 80 FPS. Next up was the AMD RX 460, and here I kept the same settings, 1080p with 100% resolution scale, and I averaged very similar results as the 750 Ti, right at 80 FPS. Just keep in mind that you can always adjust the settings higher to make it look pretty, or even lower to get those higher frames per second. The GT 960 was up next, and here I cranked the settings up a bit to 1080p and high settings, just like the chart I showed you earlier, and here that averaged an impressive 87 FPS. The 1% low was a bit low in my opinion, so you might want to do a tad bit of tweaking to get this a bit more stable. The super budget GT 1030 was up next. I've done plenty of videos on this card now by the way. It's perfect for transforming those standard Dell and HP desktops into gaming PCs, and with 1080p medium settings, once again, I averaged right on the money at 60 FPS. Moving towards the top end of our stack of GPUs with the GTX 1050 Ti, a monster 1080p price to performance graphics card, and here I cranked up the settings to 1080p Epic, and I managed to score a 58 FPS average. You could definitely get some much higher FPS if you cranked it down to high, it's just all about personal preference. And finally, the last card on our list is the monster GTX 780 Ti, which is barely a budget GPU at best, it's pretty baller. With this card, I also kept the settings at 1080p and Epic, and with that, I averaged an impressive 84 FPS. Well, that wraps up my benchmarking video for Fortnite with some budget graphics cards. Just remember that this game is 100% free to play, so go test it out on your own, but maybe this video helped you if you were thinking about buying one of these graphics cards. Well, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please drop a like down below to help support my channel. Also down there is a link to zachstechturf.com so you can buy baller hoodies like this. And as always, thank you for watching, and please subscribe for more Zach's Tech Turf videos.